This is our fifth shadow hearing in a series of hearings that I've been hosting on how the Trump administration is destroying our immigration system and trampling on our constitutional rights. Today's hearing will focus on the administration's actions to supercharge immigration incarceration to record levels. Trump campaigned on deporting the, quote, worst of the worst, but that is absolutely not what he's been doing. Instead, he has cruelly ripped apart families, detained people of every immigration status, including U.S. citizens, and allowed rogue ICE and Border Patrol agents to terrorize communities across our country. Let me be very clear, for those who are watching, that immigration is a civil matter, not a criminal one, with immigration law being the most complex in the country after tax law. That means that immigrants are not automatically provided with government attorneys, and the majority go through the system completely unrepresented by attorneys, despite the tremendous complexities of the legal immigration system, unless they are able to afford an attorney themselves or they're able to get a pro bono attorney. ICE's own website still says that detention is civil, not criminal in nature, and that detention is not supposed to be punitive, as this is an administrative proceeding. However, the story of what is happening today is completely different. Today, according to ICE's own statistics, 73% of people held in ICE detention have absolutely no criminal conviction, and the vast majority of the remaining 27% have minor convictions such as traffic violations. ICE has been arresting people at courthouses when they're trying to follow the legal process. They're profiling immigrants around the country, picking up people for the language they speak or the street corner that they hang out on. Video footage almost every day captures horrific violence of masked DHS kidnapping and capturing of people, including at least 170 documented instances of U.S. citizens being detained. According to a recent report by Politico, more than 220 judges have ruled against Trump's mass detention policies, saying that these detentions violate due process. That includes 23 judges who were appointed by Donald Trump himself.
But, one side, yes, if you have shipwrecked personnel and they are executed at sea, that is a war crime. If you have two personnel who are at sea trying to recover drugs, that is not necessarily a war crime.
And again, these were shipwrecked sailors, bad sailors doing bad things, making bad decisions, but they were shipwrecked sailors, barely afloat in a vessel that was completely awash. Without any tools. There was no way these two individuals in that moment posed any sort of threat to U.S. forces. And yet, nonetheless, the decision, and again, I'll say it again, the example that is given in the Department of Defense manual is of shipwrecked sailors. You do not kill them because they are out of combat, incapable of further hostilities, and doing so is, according to the manual, a war crime.
Because immigration is a civil matter, not a criminal matter, regardless of whatever the president says. And yet, these facilities have been turned into essentially jails with horrific conditions, rotting food, no water, unsanitary conditions, no ability for people to get the due process that they desperately need and are due by our Constitution. In fact, 220 judges across the country, Joyce, have
cruel, callous, inhumane, and unlawful. But in these trying times, I am not defeated. I am fortified and resolved to fight back. The only way to beat a dictator is with defiance. Together we will protect our communities, defend our immigrant neighbors and their families.
And yet, these facilities have been turned into essentially jails with horrific conditions, rotting food, no water, unsanitary conditions, no ability for people to get the due process that they desperately need and are due by our Constitution. In fact, 220 judges across the country, Joyce, have...
Imagine we're $38 trillion in debt, and they don't care about debt. They care about power. And so if they can turn a lot of these blue cities bluer and steal money and put us more in debt, they will be emboldened to them and they will vote Democrat forever.
Senator Tuberville. What does that do to families? That means that you're more stressed. That means you can go into financial ruin. Going into financial ruin means depression, means domestic abuse, means divorces, means separations, means potential increase in suicide.
It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No.
It is interesting that President Trump, Secretary Hegseth have refused to tell us exactly what happened. They know. They've dribbled out little stuff. They've lied repeatedly and then corrected themselves. They have.
The fact of the matter is, and I think this is important, Laura, the reality is, you listen to what that video was about, which was disobey orders because we don't like Trump, effectively. Later on this weekend, not just some online troll, but a sitting United States senator basically said to servicemen and women, you could be prosecuted too.
This problem was brought to my attention as a result of some excellent investigating reports by the Wall Street Journal. Christopher Weaver and his colleagues exposed this lucrative loophole, along with some academic research from Dr. David Myers.
We want to protect the health care that families in this country have, and that includes Republicans, it includes Democrats, it includes independents. So
standing up and fighting matters. I'm proud to be part of a delegation that fought to make sure that $80 million is now going to be coming into the state of Connecticut.